I am going to share the algorithm for rotating an array to the right by n positions using Python. There are multiple ways to do this, but I am going to share two simpler methods to achieve this. The first method is by slicing the array, and the second method is to rotate your array to the right by one position and repeating this for n number of times until you get your array rotated by n positions. So here, if you see, I am having an input array of 11 elements, and I want this array to be rotated to the right by 4 positions. So the first time, so this is the second approach I am sharing. So we want to rotate this array one by one. So the first rotation is going to be, we are going to store the last element into a temporary variable and move the remaining elements from the beginning to the last but one position, and store the last variable into the first position and move all the remaining elements to the subsequent positions. Similarly, in the second rotation, extract the last element, store it in a temporary variable, and move all the remaining elements to the right one by one, starting from the end, and then store the remaining element, the last element 22, into the first position. And repeat this until you get your array rotated by n positions. And the first approach is going to be by slicing the array. So in this method, we are going to extract the array elements from the position, from the fourth position, from the last and till the end of the array. We are going to extract these elements and place in the beginning of the array, and then extract the elements from the beginning to the fourth position from the last and place it towards the end of the array. So this is a slicing approach. So let's quickly see how to do this. So here I have my workspace ready. So let's create a file for and name it as write rotate array.py, and let me quickly have a doc string rotate array to the right by n positions, and let's have our driver method first. If underscore underscore name underscore underscore equal to main semicolon colon, and let's have an input array equal to so this is going to be our input array, and we have to rotate this array to the right by 4 positions. So let's have a variable POS and have 4 assigned to it, and let's calculate the length of the array and store it in a variable n. So now let's do the add a print statement. So let's say approach 1 using slicing method. Let's first print the input array, rotated right by how many positions is your input array. And now let's call a method for rotate array right by slicing, and pass this array and the position and the total number of elements as arguments to this function. So now let's go ahead and create a function definition. Okay, so now for the slicing method, we are going to have, so we are going to extract the element from -4, so minus position till the end of the array, and then concatenate that with extract the elements from the beginning till the 4th position from the last, and return this array back to the driver method. So now let's add another print statement. So rotated array to the right by position is your output array. So now let's quickly run this code to check if our logic is working. So Python 3 write rotate array.py, using slicing method, and your input array okay, it's going to be an f string. Save this and let's clear the console, and okay, so this is the input array, and your output array is going to be from the 4th position from the last, so 12, 21, 22, 15. So that is moved to the first 4 positions, and the remaining elements are added towards the end of the array. So the slicing method is working fine. So now let's look at the other approach for rotating your array to the right one by one, and repeat that for n positions. So now let's have the same input array, same positions, and calculate the length of the array. And let's add a print statement. Copy the same print statements which we have above. So this time using rotation by 1 method. So the input array to be rotated right by n positions is this one, is your input array. And now let's have another function, rotate array right, and pass your input array, your positions, total number of positions you want that to be rotated, and the length of the array to this input, to this as an input to this function. So now let's go ahead and create this function definition. Rotate array right colon, and now we want to have a loop for I in range of pos. So we want this loop to be executed for 4 positions 4 times, and we want to call a method for rotating your array right by one position, and we want to pass the array and the total number of elements to this function. And once this array is rotated, we want to return the array back to the driver method. So now let's go ahead and create the function definition for rotate array by one position to the right. So here we are going to, the first step is we are going to store the last element into the temporary variable, into a temporary variable, and then we are going to have a for loop for I in range of, so we are going to traverse backwards. So we are going to start from the last but one element, and we are going to reach till the end of the second element from the beginning. So it's going to be 0, and we are going to step backwards, so -1. And in this loop we are going to move all the elements to the right by one position. So once this is moved, we are going to store the temporary variable to the in the first position. We are going to move the temporary variable, we are going to move the element that we stored in the temporary variable, which is the last element, to the first position. So a error of 0 equal to temp. So now let's save this and add a print statement, which we can copy from the above. So rotated array to the right by this position, rotated array to the right by this position is your output array. So now let's quickly run this program to see if our logic is working fine. Okay, now as you can see, okay, let's say this is approach 2. Clear the console. Let's run the code again. Okay, so our approach 1, we already saw that it was working fine. So your approach 2 using rotation by one method. So again our input array is this, and your output array is rotated 4 times. So 12, 21, 22, 15 has come to the beginning of the array, and the remaining elements have moved to the end of the array. Thanks for watching. Bye.